How you doing? My name is Nico Nichole, and this is Give This Girl a Mic. I just wanted to let you guys know that what I do each week is we discuss pop culture, commentary, and general culture of it all. Literally, pop culture, and sometimes I'll sprinkle in a little bit of politics, which is actually you're in for a treat today. So if you're coming here from my other page, I have a political page called Pretty Politico. If you are coming from that page today from my TikTok and you're watching here, I appreciate you for coming on over. But also, we will get into the crux of politics, but I'm going to wait until after. So, the first hour, I'm going to dedicate solely to my Give This Girl a Mic page as a thank you. Currently, I sit at about, I want to say 800 subscribers. How much was it? Last time I checked, I was at, let's see, 804 subscribers. So, I thank you guys for that over here. And because of the rapid growth, when I started, and I guess that's kind of luck, when I first started re-uploading after 2 years of being off this site, this app for instance, I was only at 84 subscribers. So within a couple of weeks, like maybe 2 or 3 weeks, I was up to 804 subscribers. And I was really, really, really grateful for that because I had kind of lost motivation to post in general. And then as I began getting comfortable doing lives on YouTube, I became restricted to do on TikTok. I became restricted to do TikToks because of some of the politics that I was talking about over on TikTok. So when I was posting the same things over to YouTube and I was getting rewarded for those same things, and then I had returning members, it allowed me to know that I'm in the right direction and I'm doing the right things. So with that in mind, I just want to say thank you so much, every one of you, all 804 of you that have subscribed to me. I really, truly appreciate it. And from here on out, I'm going to invest my time solely into my Give This Girl a Mic YouTube page. I am posting political stuff still on Pretty Politico, but I can't go live there until I'm at 50 subscribers. I'm only at 12. So if you go to my description, you can click the link there. So if you want solely political talk, that's going to be on Pretty Politico, and you'll have to subscribe and get me to 50 in order for me to solely talk about that. But I'm going to go where my plant is being watered, and currently that is at Give This Girl a Mic. And so I thank you guys. I thank all 804 of you that has subscribed in the last couple of weeks. So today we are going to just talk pop culture as we always do. I just want to get into the order of business. If you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe to the page. I appreciate it. Thank you. Because you're here, you might as well subscribe to page and come back for more. So I wanted to recap just what's happening overall in the world. It's just some stuff going on, honey. First, though, I want to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone. And I want to, and if you guys see me looking down, if you guys don't know, if you guys are here from my political page, I have my handy dandy notebook, aka my iPad, where I house all my notes. So that's what I'm looking down at to kind of get me organized so we stay on track. So first thing in order, I have a happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving with your families. I hope it was everything you hoped it to be. Mine was okay. We didn't do any big planning this year. Like previous years, you kind of do a lot with your families. And I think we just are at a place where we're just kind of quiet. And I think honestly, had maybe the election gone a different way, people would have been a little bit more excited to celebrate. But I think because we were in that state of like shock and kind of a little sadness, there wasn't much celebrating going on. At least in my house, it was just like, let's eat, say, comfort each other and go home. So that's kind of what we did. And I know a lot of people even just bought food. Even myself, I bought some stuff because I wasn't cooking all that food. Not this year. Just wasn't that kind of vibe. We have to save our money. We don't know what the future is going to hold. We don't know, if it's going to be a good future or a bad future because the man is going to be the president. And it's something we just have to accept at this point and move on with our lives. On a brighter note, I went to go see Moana 2. Oh my God, I love that movie, guys. It was so cute. It was just like so stinking adorable. And in the movie, Moana is like a little bit more mature. I believe some of the kids were saying she's like 12 years old or something. So in the movie, I'm trying to see if I can show myself more because I'm a little bit small, but it's okay. I can see myself here. That's all right. So, in the movie, Moana's about 12 years old, give or take, and she is on this new journey of kind of trying to save her people in another way, by finding and exploring more. And I think for the first time, you know how like movies, they don't really have a time in your mind. And I think for the first time I realized that Moana was like in AD, and I mean, like, way back when. Because for some reason I just thought she was like a modern Hawaiian tribe, like that could still kind of exist in modern day. I don't know, but obviously not, right? We're dealing with gods and God. So no, it would like kind of told that story of like exploration and how her people were kind of some of the first explorers of the world, and how Moana is literally a wayfinder, a waymaker. The movie, if you think about it, it has a lot of spirituality to it. The waymaker, and waymaker, that thing like God is the way, the truth, the light. That's kind of the synopsis of the movie to me. There's a picture of I gave my brother for one of his birthdays where there's an angel pulling him up, and there's devils pulling him down, right? And there's one scene when Maui is like reaching up to the heavens and Moana is like holding on to earth, and it's like that streamline. I swear it's that same photo was inspiration for that scene. And I called my mom like, oh my God, this movie is like really spiritual and inspirational. I know it didn't get a lot of good reviews, but to me, it was a sequel. It was unnecessary, didn't need to be made, but it was a money grab. But it was also beautifully made and well done. I think the songs did not hit like the first movie because they didn't hire Lin-Manuel. If they hired him, I think the movie would have been like out of this park. Like, because all the design, all the beautiful things that we appreciated in the first Moana movie were still there. So I think had they come to the conclusion of let's hire him. What is his name? Lin Manuel Miranda. I was thinking about the last part. Lin, if they would have hired Lin, the movie would have probably been the best sequel to ever hit Disney in history. Because all the kids were so excited. There was just such a good plot, and it just didn't hit with the songs. I can't remember not one song. The only part I remember is the girl said, I am Moana, which is actually from the first movie. But they couldn't take all of it because, he was soooo behind. But that was it. And I was like, and I can't even remember what song she was singing. It was very much the same movie, except repackaged. It was unnecessary, but it was beautiful nonetheless. I'll say that. All right. So next, I wanted to give you some examples this week in social media. What I've noticed is there has been a lot of social media front end, social media relationships that are crumbling as we speak. The first social media baddie, so to speak, that comes to mind is the girl Ashley Grayson. You guys probably remember her from social media. If you don't, I do, and I'll tell you all about it. She was like I just have a feeling like she's not going to be as successful as she's kind of panning out to be, because whatever she got going on, it just didn't feel right. It felt like she was doing something she wasn't supposed to be doing, and I just couldn't put my finger on it. But when all this came out, it was like, oh, okay, I see what's happening here. Speaking of Moana, I see what's happening here. Okay, and then come to find out, the friend just basically said, you're not going to get me in trouble with you. I'm going to the popo. So that's what she did. She went to the cops. She took it there, and she is now serving. That's 10 years. And she the kind of girl that she would do those 10 years. Where's my straw? And then she would try to get out and do the same thing. Like, some people don't really learn their lesson. Y'all, I'm all over the place. Let me go get my straw so I can drink my juice. I'll be right back. If I had my way, hold on. We're going to be on here a long time, so y'all might as well get comfortable because I got a lot to cover. If I had my way, I would have a microphone set up so y'all can hear me better. I don't know if you can hear me. I drink Olipop's. Oh my God, we usually start the day with my quote of the day. And my quote of the day, I got it from one of my meditation apps. I usually give you my tea of the day, but today is my drink of the day, which is going to be Olipop. And then my quote of the day is, do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. That's my quote of the day. So I will be putting that up on once I edit this and re-upload it as a live stream edit. I'll put this up because you know I gotta edit all this crap out. Where we at now? We at 29. So we're gonna edit that out too. 29, 31. And this is why I love live streams, because you kind of get to catch it all. You catch all the quirkiness. And another quote that I had put on my if you guys aren't following me on the Blue Ski, which we'll get into, I had another quote, and I think it sums up what's happening today. It says, please stop trying to fit into a perfect mold. Be crazy, be outrageous, be all over the place. It makes you more interesting. And it's so true, because when you are trying to be perfect and fit into these little boxes that people have created for you, you will always fail to show up properly. But when you show up as yourself, as your authentic self, nobody can't, no objection, opinion, or behavior can change who you are. Okay? And there's something powerful in that, and being, y'all talk about that girl and all that stuff. The idea of being that girl or that guy is to be authentically who you are. It really don't get no better. Now, you can make money while being that girl, because you don't want to be that girl on the bridge. That ain't no fun. But you can be that girl or that guy in the comfort of your own home, making your own money, and doing the things you always set out to do while being yourself. To me, that's how you know somebody's made it. And they were talking about it. The majority of that comes from luck, right? All that isn't happening because somebody is smarter than you, because there's only a certain amount of smart in the world. And there was a guy, he was talking about it, that the smartest guy in the world who ever existed ended up not even being that successful, because he kind of worked himself into psychosis a little bit, and depression. Because when you're that smart, you smarter than everybody, you see how dumb things are, like Idiocracy, that movie I always talk about. And I think there's something to having a bit of luck, a bit of smarts, a little business savvy. Everybody need a little bit of everything in order to become this brand of success that we all think of in our head. So just the number one thing in order to obtain those successes, though, no matter who you are, is showing up for yourself. Show up to the conference, show up to the networking event, show up to everything that I am, everything that I've done in my life has led me to this place. And I know it's just YouTube, but it is important to know, because I have so much to say. That hence, give this girl a mic. You think that name came by chance? No, it did not. Everything that somebody has tried to make me feel bad about or insult me about, I have turned it and spent it into something that is to be reveled, to be honored about myself, because I don't let nobody define me. You know, I was talking a lot. Somebody said, oh, child, get this girl a mic. And I did. Where my mic at? It's right there. And did. Where my mic at? Somebody bought me this mic years ago. One of my girlfriends told me I need to start a podcast, and she bought this little tiny mic years ago with these headphones years ago, before Keita had them. I had them, but I never started. I never got started. And look what Keita is, and she used these same headphones. So I think about it all the time, right? But you have to start. I've been this way, been this person. And even the other day, somebody told me, oh, you just think this is your world. I made that my tagline on my TikTok. I said, this is my world, and you're just living in it. Anything somebody can take as an insult, you can flip it and make it into money. And that's the key. You don't take anything somebody's saying about you as fact, because how they gonna tell you who you is? Only God can judge me, baby. And only person who know you is you. At the end of the day, you're going to bed with yourself at night, in your thoughts. Nobody's in that brain of yours. Not yet, at least. Let Elon tell it. He'll be in our brains in a year. But while you still have it, what did I say? What I Rihanna or Erykah Badu? Think while that's my think while it's still legal. I have the picture somewhere because I made it my profile picture. Let me see if I have it in here. Think. Wow. Yeah, here it goes. Y'all better think while it's still legal. You know, you better have your own brain while it's still legal because soon we're all going to be AI generated. All right, enough of my crazy talk. Let's get back to the other crazy, the fun talk. So now, the next couple that made me think of, okay, too much flossing on the internet, not enough substance, not enough, reality was the girl Nico Nichole and her boyfriend Tony Robinson. I don't know much about this. I do remember the girl and like she's really beautiful and all that stuff. And I follow her. I think most of us probably follow her on social media, but I never knew who she was. Like how somebody's so pretty, you follow them, but you never see them again. She's kind of one of those girls. So when I seen the breakup between her and the guy, and apparently she had all these flashy things going on and stuff like that, I knew it. I was like, oh, when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh. Like, soon as, because she, at one point, she was like by herself and she was doing her thing. And then she got with this guy, and every post was about the guy, about the guy. And I was kind of thinking to myself, I just want her to stop. Like, I just want her to go back to like posting her own thing. But I obviously didn't want to come off I'm married, but I didn't want to come off as a hater because, like, that's her man, that's her man, her man, her man. Literally, she tweeted that. But I often feel like, and the same thing with Ashley Grayson, which is why I mentioned these two stories back to back, is when you see somebody flossing their relationship as perfect online, you usually know that that's probably the least perfect relationship. And they're trying to convince themselves to stay in a relationship. Because I can tell you, as a married woman, relationships are not easy, they are hard work. And if you aren't with somebody who values you, who wants to see the best of you, who sees the best in you, it can get really, really tricky really fast, and it can get kind of dangerous. So there has to be a level of, remember when grandma said he need to love you more than you love him? Yes, but not to the point of somebody stalking you and never wanting you to leave. That is unhealthy. And you don't want that. And that's kind of, I was watching somebody's YouTube. I can't remember who, but everybody's talking about this right now. But he was tweeting for 6 hours, ranting about their relationship. Unhealthy. Red flag, red flag, red flag. If you let somebody go, they have to let you go. Nobody can hold on to you that long. Excuse me. Sorry. Excuse me. You don't belong to anybody. Nobody can hold on to you. When you are ready to go, you have every right to leave. And I want you ladies to really remember that. Like, not just say, okay, yeah, I know I can leave. No, you need to know that if you want to go, you can leave. I've been married for now 8 years, and I've been with my husband for 11 years, going on 12 years. And there's times where I've had to go. You got to make moves that in space for you when necessary. And to make your relationship the backbone, you will never see my husband as the backbone of my page. You'll see maybe him here and there. You'll see my child here and there. But they're co-pilots. They ain't co-pilots. They're passengers on my plane. I love Beyonce. She got a lie. She got a bark. I'm one of them people that I quote songs, and 99% of the time I'm gonna quote a Beyonce song because she got a saying for everything. They're passengers on my plane. They're not co-pilots of my plane. Especially when it comes to the social media thing. Obviously, in my life, my husband's supposed to be the captain and all that stuff and But when it comes to me and my business and my careers and the things I'm doing for myself, they are there, but I'm not going to put them on Front Street. Like my last live, you guys were here. My husband came right into the room, checking in on me, and he'll probably be here in a couple of minutes, and he'll come in and check and probably say hi to you guys. But he's not going to sit here and be dancing all in the videos and taking over. That's not his nature. And so when you have a guy who is not just there, and even Tab, all these years later, all his success, Chance is there. Even when they do their Fridays with Tab and Chance, he's like literally a co-pilot. He's chilling. He lets his wife be. He's not trying to be the star of that show. He's letting it just work out. And because he knows his wife and he knows what he's good at and he knows what she's good at. And I love that for them. And I think when you are in a relationship, you know it's not perfect. So you're not gonna put all your business out there. You're gonna deal with it with respect to the privacy and the intimacy of your bond and your marriage and your relationship. So for them not to even be married yet, they are just in the fiance stage of it all. And they're putting everything on Front Street. And somebody even made the point of like every time he did something to her, for her, like the engagement, it had to be on Front Street. And me, I always said to myself, like, and I love the way I was proposed to, but like when you get married, you don't want your stuff on Front Street. You want it to be intimate and private because when it's that way, you get the chance. You can say no if you don't want it. But when you are in an environment where you have to put everything out there, you may even feel the pressure to say yes. So if the person says yes in private, you know it's a real yes. But I digress. So that was another thing. So we got the Ashley Grayson, the Nico Nichole, and the Tony Robinson relationship. Then it leads me to DDG and Hallie and them spending Thanksgiving together. Girl, Hallie is an Aries like me, so I know we be holding on to our men because we love our men, my man, my man, my man kind of girls. But the difference between Hallie and DDG is his putting everything on social media, their child on social media, their child on Front Street. And I don't know, I had to be in a minority, but I would have acted and reacted exactly like Hallie did if my husband had my child on camera to millions and millions. I know he got his own YouTube page, but Kai Cent and DDG are not the same. DDG is like a standard YouTuber. Kai Cent is anomaly. He's like the new like gatekeeper of Hollywood. And to give my child space to that kind of platform, I would be mortified and terrified too. Imagine somebody put your child on that kind of thing. She probably doesn't even want him on DDG page. But she's like, you know what? That's the daddy. I'll deal with it. But to then take him to, and I don't like the whole, I don't like the kids on that platform lately. And I feel like since the Northwest and Kanye crying about it, why was Kanye crying about it? Because he knows what that gateway is. It's a gateway drug, right? That's what it is now. That's what social media is now to these kids. And he didn't want Northwest on there. But Kim put her on there too. And that whole episode was weird. Because why is this grown man with these little kids? I don't like it. I don't like it. And remember, Orlando Brown said, anything you see on screen that is like on those big media platforms can be bought and sold. Can be bought and sold. So I'm sorry. I don't think Hallie was wrong. I love that she was trying to support him on Thanksgiving, but I just think some of his antics have been manipulative. But again, I can't judge her relationship because it's her relationship. I just wish her and DDG the best, but I also wish they would take their child out of it, and I wish they would create some more privacy amongst there, because it's kind of dimming her stardom. It's making her seem basic and average, and he always shows her and like just looking dusty instead of looking beautiful and elegant as we should. She should be a mystery like she used to be, but he's kind of taken the veil of mystery from her and made her be like just common. And it's so funny because the girls he does allow on his page, they can create a mystery because they're coming in looking the best they've ever looked, and they're only on his page for a spotlight, whereas she's on his page looking crazy. He out of her pregnancy. It's just so much mischief around him, and unfortunately because she has the child now, she's gonna be swept into that chaos for 18 years. He got one of her kids, got her for 18 years. Next up, speaking of Hallie, I was thinking about Chloe Normani and the breakthrough of Tyler, and how, to me, I feel like that is satisfying the appetite. That's where the girls are eating right now. They're eating off of Tyler's plate. But something about Tyler, y'all, it's like I was rooting for her at first, but her behavior, her attitude is just really turning me off. It's turning me off. I'm just not into it no more. And I don't even watch her videos, especially since she copied Beyonce / Rihanna's old aesthetics. I'm not into it. I see what's happening. I feel like she's like a Elon South African kind of industry plant, so to speak, because he wants to take that power away from Beyonce and give it to Tyler and give it to South Africa. I think that's Elon's ultimate goal, is to revitalize South Africa, because that's where he's originally from. And we talk about that on my political page a lot, about why, and maybe I'll do a deep dive into that one day, the story of Elon and where his drive for success comes from and where he's leading us to. He's like kind of has similar drives as like a Steve Jobs, same but different. So if you guys want that, I'm thinking about a few deep dives. Kendrick deep dive, maybe Elon deep dive, but that's kind of has been something I've been thinking about a lot, is doing Elon and how it ties into pop culture, how it ties into media, how it ties into AI, and how it ties into the future of not just America, but globalization as a whole. So if you guys are interested, let me know, and I will do a deep dive into that. Speaking of sisters, Tia and Tamera are not getting along right now. Oh my God, heartbreak. Because I actually love those girls, and if you guys are like in my age group in your late 30s, like you guys grew up with Tia and Tamera as well, like they were really those girls back in the day. They were beautiful, they were smart, they had the best press ever in like Hollywood. And it's just really sad to see how they're separating each other now. And everybody's blaming Tia, saying she's going through something. I don't know if I feel like she's going through something, y'all. I really don't. Like, y'all can't make me think she's going through something. I just think she's just divorcing her husband. She's in like a child state. She's been with the same guy for almost 30 years, and she's finally breaking free of it, and she's exploring who she is. I'm sorry if y'all don't like who she's becoming, but she is becoming. And I think when you are a butterfly in that cocoon, in that caterpillar, in that cocoon, it doesn't feel good. It isn't pretty. Caterpillars are gross, and they are just like spongy and creepy, and then they develop, and then they blossom into a monarch, right? Into a butterfly, blue monarch or orange monarch. And that is where the beauty comes. So we're just seeing transformation. Like, if you guys, some people have beautiful transformation, some people have, more metamorphosis, so to speak. Remember, there's a book called Metamorphosis that I read back in maybe elementary school, and it was about a beetle, and it was basically a reflection of puberty and what we go through and how much we change. And by the end, he was like this cute little boy, and by the end, he was like this horrific beetle. Nonetheless, his mom still had to like love him through it all. But if she was to love him through that, she would end up losing herself. So it was just like, it's a book called Metamorphosis, and I think that's kind of what Tia's going through. Like right now, Tamera can't love on Tia the right way because Tia's going through a metamorphosis. But once she comes back, hopefully she don't turn into a big old black beetle, but she'll turn into the monarch. She'll turn into the butterfly. So, her story is still being told. And I think it goes back to what I was saying, putting on for the gram. You can't do all that fronting, and you have to show up as you sometimes. And I think with Tia, she needs to, I don't need to tell nobody what they need to do. But if I was to be her friend and I was in her ear, I say to do this, in private, in hiding, just like the book Metamorphosis. I tell her to read Metamorphosis as well. And that's kind of where I think Tia is. I don't judge it. I've been there. I felt what she's felt. I've gone through what she's going through, especially as somebody who was extremely innocent. And I carried my innocence as like a badge of honor, carried my purity as a badge of honor. And then when you get older, you realize nobody's perfect, not even you, even if you did everything right. So that's what she's getting the backlash on now. Like, being perfect can also bite you in the butt, because you can't be too much of one thing or another. She got to shake off that good girl thing and just be who she is. Sometimes she's a what's that song? In the morning I'm a bee, and then even I'm in the afternoon another Beyonce song. And she has to just shake it off and stop trying to live within that image of Tia and Tamera, and finally live as Tia, good girl going bad. Like she got to live who she is, because we see who she is. She just wants to still coat it in sugary sweet powder, and it's not working. It's coming off inauthentic, and I think that's where she struggles right now. Next up, oh, you guys remember, if you guys are on my page, like you guys are, if there happen to be any like OGs who were watching me back when I like originally started this page, I used to do reviews on Love and Marriage Huntsville. And within that, I used to talk about like how, I had to let go of like Mel and Martell and that whole thing. But I did watch the latest episode this week. And I mean, they're still in the same place. It's literally being stuck on stupid. At this point, Mel needs to leave. Mel needs to get her own show, or they just need to cancel the show altogether because it's ridiculous. There's so much litigation and lawsuits. It's almost like love and marriage litigation at this point. There is no love. And I just hope they wrap that thing up, because that's not how you want Black success to be. And it made me think of Oprah. Like, Oprah, I know this is not what you hope for your channel, and I know you said you sold the company, but if it has your name on it, I would think you have just a little bit of creative control where you can just do something to stop this train wreck. But that's neither here nor there. Next thing up, I saw a little bit of, and this goes back into the fronting. There's gonna be this part is a lot of little fronting stuff. I was thinking about I saw a video of the guy who does the red, who was on the red pop balloon thing. He was flexing, saying he had a private jet. He was simping real crazy. And I just feel like we have all lost the plot, because the boys are watching Shira's videos, and Shira's saying, let's get the money. And then you got the trophy wife. The boys are now thinking that's how they get the girls. But that's never how you got the girl. And the girls who get the guys, it's either one or two things. They've been with the guys since they were young, like a Kendrick Lamar and his wife situation, or Ice Cube and his wife situation, or they gonna get the bag and they chase the bag by any means necessary, like the girl Jazz from Cam Newton, or even the girl Jazz from Real Housewives of Potomac. They don't care what or who they have to claw over to get that man. So those are like the two separate type of girls when you're dealing with like that Shira mindset. And then you have the Shiras. Shira was a baby. That's the thing y'all missing. Shira is only 40 years old. She's not old. She's only 40. Y'all, she's like 44 max, right? She met this guy in her 20s, and he was already like well beyond older than her. He was already probably in his 40s, right? So when you're thinking about that hypergamy aspect to it, the girls who are like the pop the balloon girls, they're already 35, 36, a lot of them, right? Shira was taken at 20 something. It's going to be hard for you ladies who are in your 40s to get what Shira got in her 20s from a man who was in his 40s. So if you guys are on that pop the balloon show and those boys are only in their early 30s and barely, some of them are like barely in their 30s, you're not going to get the same level of hypergamy that you would get that Shira got. And then another thing is, a lot of those men aren't even around anymore. It's just like an old school concept. There aren't a lot of men who are making that much money. If you go, I was actually looking up the employment rate the other day of different jobs, and we'll get into that because I wrote a little note about it. But there are not even a lot of men working. The majority of men in America, black, white, otherwise, are not working. So where are y'all getting these hypergamous men? Unless you're going to Dubai and doing something strange for a piece of change, you're not getting those dudes. So you guys need to snap out of it. You boys who are pretending to have private jets and pretending to be this high value, hypergamous leaning men, need to stop living the lie as well. And I wish we could just go back to the 90s where you could just be yourself. Where you could just remember Poetic Justice, where Tupac was just a post office worker and he had to work his way to get the girl because he liked her because she was out of his league. Go back to those days where you just work hard for the man and you love who you love. Like, nobody's judging you, because all of y'all ain't gonna be rich. We all can't be rich. Some of us can be rich in other ways. Some of us can be rich in experiences and life and love and lessons in our children that we raise. It don't always have to be the money in the bank. Because unless you are in that right place at that right time, like Shira was, she was at the right place, the right time, meeting the right man in the early 2000s, in her 20s. Come on, y'all. Do you really think you're going to reiterate that in today's age? You can take all the advice in the world, but you can't replicate and duplicate her life. And if you do try, you're messing it up. You see what happened to the new trophy wife. So come on now. Come on. We got to do better than this. And this leads me into, if you don't, you'll end up like Lisa Ray. You'll end up like Vivica Fox, or there's another one who said they want to get married now, David Banner. These are people who are well into their 50s. My best friend, she used to say, that's the forever, the forever young generation, the forever young, the Jay-Z's, the Nas's, she used to call them the forever young generation. They don't grow up. Because all her cousins, they was all really handsome, all still fly, still spiffy. And I used to think they was my age. She's like, girl, they way older than you. You're a child to them. And I'm like, why they look so young? She's like, oh, because they forever young. They don't grow up. And that's what you're seeing. You're seeing these men who never grew up, who never kind of took responsibility to become the elder. And so they're reaching back instead of reaching forward and building their life and their legacies. They're reaching backwards to reclaim their time, to reclaim their youth. And it's really, really unfair to the young people that they're snatching up, because they're not even, able to provide a bag in a way that Shira's husband was able to provide a bag. So they're not trying to get with the Lisa Rays of the world. And then if you watch that show, what was it, the Queen's Court, where it was Delicious, which she calls herself London. Then it was K. Michelle, and then it was Lisa Ray. And Lisa Ray kind of came off, and I loved it. She came off very, I'm wearing white too. She would love this. Shout out to you, Lisa, beautiful Lisa Ray. But she basically came off extremely regal, respectable, and you're like, oh my God, why didn't she end up staying married? Well, come to find out, she blamed Dwayne Martin, baby. And I kind of had a feeling that Dwayne Martin was the problem, because you see the transformation of Tisha Campbell once she got rid of that dead weight, how she looks so beautiful now. She no longer has a sickness or disease. So you can kind of see, that he's been troublesome for a long time. Even they said the reason that Tisha Campbell in the first place fell out with Martin and the reason the show ended is because of Dwayne Martin. He didn't like the way Martin was flirting with Gina on the show. Insecure men. And she carried that man so far that now he dumped her as soon as she got over 50, and then he went to go get a lookalike, because he has access to all the women in Hollywood, apparently, according to Lisa Ray. And so she was dating a Trinidadian, I believe, Prime Minister was a Trinidadian, I believe. You can correct me in the comments. But, and she believed in hypergamy. So to this day, even though she's well over the age of like what people say is the standard, she still wants the hypergamy. And at this point, she's saying, if you can't provide me what I can provide me, there's no reason for us to even be. Period. And I'm not mad at that. And I think that is more of the take women need to focus on. Stop worrying about the man and start worrying about what can you do for yourself to provide substance and confidence for yourself and legacy for yourself, so that if a man do come, he not only has to match that, he has to match what you are doing. He not has to only provide what he can provide to you and match that, but he has to match what you're doing for yourself and more. And if you focus on that, I guarantee you will be in a better space than you would be if you just are going out there and being with Lolly Dolly and anybody. Okay? Because when you decide to leave that job or you decide to change careers, who's going to fund that? You need somebody to support you, believe in you, and help you through to the next level. If your man can't even put you in a position to help you support yourself during hard times where you're trying to be a mom and you're transitioning into that, or you're trying to start a new career and go into that, what's he even there for? At least you can give that girl Nicole credit, the girl I was talking about earlier, Nico Nichole, because what her boyfriend was on there talking about for 6 hours was that she took his money, started all these businesses, and he didn't get any of it. Child. The internet is a strange place, I tell you. Next up, this is off the cuff. So these are two pieces of business, really. And I should have talked about them at the top. UPS scams. They're getting so good. I got a text the other day about a UPS scam. So I just wanted to remind you guys to make sure that when you guys are on these apps, that you aren't like clicking the link. I got a text message from UPS saying that I had a package, and they sent it right after I had ordered a package. And so I was thinking it was real, but then I went to the actual website where I ordered the package from, and come to find out it wasn't real because the package hadn't even been shipped out yet, honey. So just make sure when you are looking for, packages or something, that you're not clicking those text message links because they can be scams. Another thing of business, another order of business, make sure that you are, if you have a LLC of any kind, please make sure that you are going to do your business registration. Let me see, I forget, I did mine already. What is it called? Business registration certificate. And if you don't do it, they're gonna it's called BOIR, and you have to do it right, like before the end of the year. If you don't do it, you can literally, it's called BOIR. BOI. Let me see. I'm trying to go to the actual site instead of sending you guys to like a show you guys the extras. I did mine already. I have an LLC myself. So they're going to find you. They might send you to jail. There's like a lot of different, and I wouldn't play with this administration, clearly, right? So you guys want to make sure you guys are doing this. That's what it's called. This is how the site looks. Again, once I'm used to this website, this thing, I can kind of go in and like, I wish I knew how to do it. Let me see if I can, I'll do it at the end. Well, I will play around with the app at the end. I just want to get this information out first. But yeah, so just make sure you guys are going in and you guys are making sure that you're doing your BOIR. I'm going to mention it every week. It's due in January. It's so important to do your filing. Please do it, because I don't want you guys getting in trouble. I don't want to hear a bunch of black women have opened up their own businesses, and I feel like my mom always just say, actually my grandma used to say it, but my mom saying now, rules is for the poor, and at the end of the day, I feel like, or especially for minority people who don't have opportunities, they've opened a lot of businesses in the last couple of years with respect to TikTok and starting their online brands. So they're not taking heed to some of the policies and the things that they should be taking care of, and following suit. So if you guys are watching this, please make sure you go do the BOIR. I can't stress it enough. And okay, so this is pivoting. This morning, as I was preparing for this, I was thinking about Jack Harlow and the white boy rappers and how they really have taken over the hip hop industry. And I was watching Jack Harlow had a song called "Hello, Mrs. Johnson," and it's just basically, "I'm sorry, Miss Jackson, ooh, I am for real." It's the same concept, except his is set in like a suburban area where he's showing like the different stories of, like, I guess what white suburbia is. And it was really interesting. But I was just thinking about how he's able to come and dominate the culture. Meanwhile, somebody like an Andre, and he's literally, culture vulturing Andre 3000 song and making all this money off of hip hop. Meanwhile, Andre 3000 is trying to create his own personal art with his last album. I believe it's called Blue Moon. I'm just gonna double check. I have Blue Moon written here. Blue Moon, New Blue Sun. Okay, I started. So it's called New Blue Sun, and it's so good. But apparently, his record label wouldn't accept that as a form of payment for the art. And I'm like, oh my God, so he can't get out his contract because there was something done in like the 70s when they were really stealing, 60s or 70s when they were really stealing from the brothers, you know, where is there's a clause that say you have to create something similar to the last album that you produced, which for him would be Love Below. Why, oh, why, oh, why? And we want that, but he doesn't want that for himself. And for me as a consumer, I don't want something for somebody that they don't want for themselves because he's not going to put his heart and soul into that because he's going to be doing it mad. And they rather get it mad in the way they want it than provided the art in the way we're consuming it. Because I listened to the new Blue Sun. And I listen to it all the time, actually. And he actually dropped a video maybe 2 or 3 days ago where he's moving out of his house. And I think he was moving, I want to say to Africa, Egypt, I believe, if I recall. And it was just such a beautiful, and I started tearing up in the middle of it. Like it does resonate. But because they are consuming Jack Harlow version of hip hop, that is what rap is now. The originators of the culture, Andre 3000, cannot step outside their box. But what's that little boy who recently went country? He could step out his box and go country. I'm sure if Jack Harlow tomorrow decided to create his own Blue Sun, new Blue Sun, they would eat it up because they can move how they want to move. And that brings me over to um, Squabble. Kendrick. We got to get into the Kendrick and the Drake of it all. That brings me over to Drake. Why Drake feels he can sue Kendrick and why he feels like he can sue UMG. Because as a colonizer, as a culture vulture, they can move how they want to move. You're not supposed to be able to move how you want to move. And that is a problem. And because at the end of the day, the artist, the person who creates the art, we move the culture. But we can't benefit from our own culture, especially when it comes to dollars and cents of it all, right? And that is something that really bothers me about what's happening to hip hop, what's happening to Black culture, and how rapidly it's being consumed. But I have predicted this way back when TikTok first started, way back when Facebook first started, and like people were quoting us, and then they were doing voiceovers, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're going to be taking our voices literally, legitly, and making it into a commodity and thinking it's funny and cute when it's just how we talk. So when they're done with the culture and they scraped every piece of it, just like they did the land of Africa, they scraped every piece of it and there's nothing left for them there, they're going to look down at us saying, ugh, why are they still talking like that? Because they grow out of it. They get to grow out of our culture. To no longer be identified with hip hop Black culture like what's his name? Tom Hanks' son, Chad or something. He's super Black. But the moment he gets a white wife and grows out of it, that's when he's going to become a man. Same thing for Jack Harlow. Same thing for I keep forgetting his name, but I keep trying to think of it. You guys know who I'm talking about. Post Malone. There he goes. He came. So he's country music now. He's an adult now, right? An adult white man because he's grown out of Black culture, just like Pink. She grew out of Black culture. That is when you've made it, right? But for Black people, we are who we are, who we are. We can't grow out of Black culture. And the only way to grow out of Black culture as a Black person is to grow into a Byron Donalds or to grow into a Candace Owens. And who wants to be that? So let's move on. So I was gonna do a video of the breakdown of Kendrick's Squabble. You guys already beat me to it. I still might do it, but I was trying to let them figure it out first. But y'all know, with this content creation thing, is the first to the finish line to do it. So what I'll tell you just some minor things I've noticed about the video that were really awesome. And I'm not gonna jump back to Drake. We know UMG, he's wrong. It's a punk move. Makes him more corny. And you can tell he's a Karenita. And I'll leave it at that. So I thought some interesting parts of Kendrick's Squabble video was the green screen imagery. He painted the background green for one or two reasons. It was like a homage to tennis, like what Beyonce did in the Grammys. Remember, she was on the tennis court with all the green. I feel like it was an homage to Beyonce and an homage to Serena. And also the girl dancing in the background with the tennis skirt on was obviously an homage to the Venus sisters, the Venus and Serena sisters, the Williams sisters as well. And of course, that ties into his Drake diss again, because Drake and Serena Williams once dated, and Drake mentioned her in the video. And then I think Kendrick's last song, Not Like Us, he said, "Don't ever disrespect Serena." You know what I mean? So it's all ties in. He really pays really, really good attention to detail. And now that I'm thinking about it, I do need to do like a little bit of breakdown. So also the green screen, the green wall, whatever you want to call it, it will make it easy for content creators to make memes so his music and visuals are effectively digestible. And I love that about it, because he knows the culture. He's so much of the culture. He's so locked in that he's making it easy for you to digest his video. Just like, and repost and make it viral. He knows what he's doing, because if it was any other color, we would have to, it would make it harder to kind of take those imageries. But he's isolated each image, and then he made a green screen, which makes it really easy for us to make TikTok memes or YouTube memes. It's just he really did a great job with that. And then the Latino culture, he reminded blacks and Latinos that we're still all in this at one. Because at the end of the day, if they fall, we fall. If you fall, they fall. And that's just the way it is. We could try to be different. We could try to say they black jobs, but those black jobs they talking about, those are Latino jobs that a lot of them are doing right now. The carpentry, the woodwork, the field work, a lot of that work is still happening. Yes, granted, with machinery, massive fields and stuff now, but it's still happening, especially and what they are saying when they thinking black job, they're saying take our behinds back to the fields, essentially. So we all are working together as one, and I think Kendrick reminds us of that in the video, and especially in LA culture. Like, if you ever been to LA, it's heavily Latino culture, and they have a big influence in the environments that Kendrick grew up. So respect to him for not only adding, black people in the culture, but reminding Drake that this is also Latino too. Respect. I love that. And I talked about all that. Okay, this is going to be like a little bit of I guess a little talk. It's a pivot, because I wanted to tell you guys about a show I watched called Eat, Slay, Love. It's with Nivea, Tammy Rivera, Eva Marcel, formerly known as Pickford, and London. I don't know who the girl London was. She was obnoxious. I tell you that much. So that girl London, I put that she's a lot of drama, and the reason I stopped, she's really the reason I stopped going on girl trip. She was telling Tammy Rivera, and her got into it because she was telling Tammy that there's no ghettos in London. I've never been to London, but I have watched Top Boy with Duchesne, and that seemed pretty ghetto to me. So, and I also watched a movie called The Kitchen. That seemed pretty ghetto to me. So I don't know what she means that there's no ghettos in London, but I'm pretty sure there are. And that's what Tammy was basically trying to say. And she's like, yes, but y'all, and she was like, kind of just saying stuff that was extremely offensive. And I didn't like that they even brought that dynamic to the show, because they wanted to like rile up black women, black American women particularly, and have us kind of come off as like the ghetto angry black woman trope. And it really was a disservice to the entire concept of what the show could have been. It would have been fine with just, and I thought that I was never going to watch that show, but I was like, I ain't got nothing to do today. Let me watch this show. And exactly what I thought the show was going to be, it turned out to be. Now, the last episode was 10 out of 10, amazing. If that was what we would have had the entire time, they only needed Eva, Nivea, and Tammy. That's it. They didn't need that other girl, because that other girl was obnoxious. So then I was like, what are their signs? Nivea is Aries, Tammy is a Leo, and Eva is a Libra. Now that is a match made in heaven. And then this girl, here she come being a Gemini. And y'all know Geminis, they are messy, messy, messy. They like the mess. So and when she also has this elitism to her, because she grew up rich. And I think when you grow up rich, you see the worst parts of like rich people. So you treat everybody like they're people. And I think for Eva, when she went to Vietnam, she was respecting the culture. She was respecting the people, because when you grew up a little poor, you realize that even when you're poor, there's a level of class and respect you give to people, even if they don't have no money. And when you're rich, you realize, oh, the rich are just slobs. But the difference between poor people and rich people, their wealth does not come from you showing out at a party and getting drunk on tables, right? Their wealth comes from loving and caring and respecting their space, the little spaces that they have. And that's something that London didn't quite grasp, that she was in Vietnam and she needed to respect these people's spaces, that she's in these environments with girls who didn't grow up in a mansion of a hotel, like she said, or a 300 square foot home like her, and that maybe their idea of what wealth is not what her idea of wealth is. Her idea of wealth is 5-star hotels, first class flights, glamour, 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 and a lack of respect to any authority. Their respect is respecting your elders, respecting your boundaries, respecting my household, and clean after yourself. That's what happens when you're like on a smaller scale. There's a lot of respect for family when you grow up poor. When you grow up rich, that there's a little bit lack of respect for family because you know what your family had to do to get there sometimes. So that kind of juxtaposition kind of created this big divide between the two. And it was just really hard to watch because I felt like Tammy, she couldn't articulate how she felt because London fell into she's like a Drake in that way, fell into the Karenita role and just became a victim of it all, of circumstance when she was the antagonist to begin with, just like Drake. It's that position of authority within the black community, right? Because they look down on black people. So when they're in their spaces and they are confident about their ghettos they grew up with, confident about themselves, and you're looking down on them and they don't look down on themselves, it's like your brain malfunctions. And that's what you see with Drake versus Kendrick. And same thing with London versus. And these are all people who have paradigms and ideology of what a Black American is as well. Because Kendrick, Drake being from Canada, and then this girl being from London, their ideas of who Black Americans are is based on media perception of Black America, which media perception of Black Americans are through the eyes of white Americans. So it's not an authentic view of who we see ourselves. So when you're then introduced to that and you are now getting a taste of that, like we're seeing Drake on a worldwide scale, is kind of flipping him on his head. And he's so frustrated he can't accept it that he has to sue. And she was so frustrated that she couldn't accept the reality of who Black Americans were that she had to leave the show. And then, sully the show and sully the people and talk bad about them because she has to be stuck in who white America has taught Black people who they are to her. Same thing with Kendrick. White America has taught not Kendrick, Drake. White America has taught Drake who Black people are. So if we're seen outside of that, we can't possibly be able to do that by ourselves. It has to be a white person that's prompting Kendrick because he's the doll and he's the dummy to do that. Same thing with this girl. Cammy could not possibly be a human and have feelings and emotion. She has to be just like the ghetto girls from Baltimore, like The Wire, because that's what she saw in the media. Poor little tink tink. And that's not always the idea, especially when you finally meet a Black American person and you see how cultured we are and how deep rooted we are as people. That's why we are such an anomaly. And people are fascinated with us because we're nothing like what they show of us on television. Okay, so yeah, in that show, I really loved it. I feel like um the rice fields, I love that, and I love how the men in the culture were cooking for the women. And I did feel like the show got so much better once London did leave. And I love how much Nivea and Tammy, they look Vietnamese, and I feel like their ancestors were there. I feel like they were seeing a lot of themselves there because they felt so comfortable with those people, because they just looked like mixed race girls when they were in that island. It was really interesting. They didn't even look Black anymore, they just looked Vietnamese because their features were very similar to the natives there. So all that kind of stuff just puts things in perspective of how much closer we are, a lot of us people of color, than separated. And then I'm serious like Nivea, like Tammy, and like I'm really passionate. That's the Leo part of me because I have a Leo. And then inside me too, so I'm an Aries and a Leo and a Cancer. So honey, I'm all over. So I think because of those things, I really related to them, and it was just fun to see like my insides on the outside, like my personality tied up into their antics on the show. And then when Tammy had that moment to mourn the relationship with her and Waka Flocka, and that's how the devil works. On that last day there, the other girl who Waka's with now tried to get some clout off of Tammy, and I'm glad that Tammy still showed up herself and didn't get caught up in giving that girl more clout than she needed to have, because that's how other women would be. You so concerned with me that you stalking my posts? Child. Women are something else. They are amazing. So let me see. What else is next? So yeah, I talked more. I had a bunch of notes on the show because I was watching it right before I hopped on here, and the show just really struck a chord with me when Eva went outside her comfort zone and she decided to go under the water. I started tearing up because I think we've all been there where you're really, really, really scared to do something and then you just do it anyway, and it's like the best feeling ever. I had that experience when I hate public speaking sometimes, and I was like pitching my business, my LLC. I was telling you guys I have, excuse me, and as I'm pitching it, I got really, really nervous, and one of the girls just came and was like, you got this, and I did it, and poorly, but I did it anyway, and I'm just so happy that I did, because had I not done that, I might have never been doing this, to kind of get yourself out of it, because when I was younger, I never was really too afraid of public speaking. Like, I would do it here and there, wherever they asked me to. I was in a bunch of plays, but then over the years, especially in environments where I'm the only black girl, I've been kind of silenced. Where it's like, shh, this is going to this person, not to you. This going, so after a while, you just get quieter and quieter and quieter. Even if you, as a young person, were this expressive kid, right? I used to be singer. I used to be artsy. I just kind of got quieter and quieter, and the more I became a part of corporate America, because in corporate, it's kind of like what they're doing to Beyonce. If you're smart, beautiful, and black, they just be like, shut up. Get out right now. It's enough of you, black girl. That's how he treats you. So you just kind of get quieter and quieter and quieter, because the more opinions you have, the more targets are on your back. So you kind of just go along to get along in corporate America. So I totally related to like putting yourself out on a limb and doing it anyway. So she was swimming with the fishes, baby. She was swimming with the fishes, and I love that. Another part of the show that really struck a nerve with me was safe spaces for black women. When Tammy cried once London left and she was able to break down her walls and talk about finding peace within herself, it made me think of the quote that my mom always said, we strive for peace that passes all understanding. And that's kind of how I live my life. People be like, oh, you're so cool, you're so chill. Yeah, sometimes, not all the time, but I had to work for this. I'm working on the peace within me that passes all understanding. You don't understand it, but I understand it, because I have a relationship with me and God. And this relationship with God has given me a different calmness about myself that nobody can shake, take, or break. And that was nice to see Tammy get to that place with the support of Nivea and Eva, because she was kind of like the little sister there. I think they're all older than her. Um, yeah, and I think the last thing that Eva said, where I loved, and it kind of put things in perspective of me, she said, with putting yourself out there comes a lot of scrutiny. And it's so true, because one of the hardest things we can do is let go and let God. And when you are on a spiritual cleanse or a godly cleanse, I believe in God. So when you pray into God, for me, and you are cleansing your spirit, you really have to put yourself out there sometimes to scrutiny, in order to show yourself that you're actually healed. Because you can say you healed all day long, but let somebody piss you off and you go screaming to the mountaintop, yelling at people, your man got some more work to do. So when you are in a place of true healing, true peace, true calmness, you won't have to worry about all that, because it's going to exude in a way that Eva was showing up on this show. She showed up beautifully, babe. She showed up very well. And you can see she's still dealing with and still struggling with things, but you can tell that because she's been, her and Nivea, because they've been through so much in their life, they're kind of at a place of working on their internal peace. It's something that they work on every single day. And for Tammy to go with them, I think that allowed her to function under a safe umbrella, and to recognize that she needs to work on her internal peace as well. So Godspeed. I hope she gets to the place that she's looking for. I hope she reaches the spaces that she's looking for, because Tammy is a beautiful, beautiful soul, and I wish her all the best. It was a great show to watch. This guy, what's his name? He been doing his thing. Y'all, the guy who produced it. It's called Eat, Slay, Love. and it's produced by, I forgot his name. He's really famous. Will Packer. This man loved black women, and I think that Tyler Perry need to hire him. I don't know if you ever worked with Tyler Perry, but Will Packer, there is a certain way women show up in his movies. There's a certain way all his shows that he's produced. There's a certain way black women show up for him. I love him. If I had a dream, maybe it would be work with him one day because I think he would appreciate my voice, and I feel like he would take my ideas serious. He's one of those producers that really, really love black women, and I just love that for the girls who were able to participate on that show. That's the other show. He did Queen's Court, and if you see how he shows up for the women, he never showed them looking crazy. They always have full glam, full makeup, and that's a certain level of love there. The lighting that he has for these girls on every single show, 10 out of 10. Never shows no roles, never shows no flaws on them really, unless they are okay with it. And that is just how you know he really takes care and loves on his cast. So I respect it. I imagine his movies, he does the same thing, right? Next up, I think that was pretty much, my last order of business before I get out of here. And then I'm going to do another live, but it's going to be for, let me wrap this up. So my last order of business is people are fleeing X, including myself. I do have a Give This Girl a Mic on X, but I am now on Blue Sky. And so if you guys want to follow me for my day-to-day updates and in my stream of consciousness, follow me on Blue Sky. Give This Girl a Mic. Same name, same logo, same tag. You can't miss me, baby. So if you guys are interested in following me there, I would greatly appreciate it. And that's really it for the live today, guys. I hope you had a good time. I know I had a good time with y'all, my 2 Live crew. We're going to be doing this every Tuesday at 2 p.m. And we're going to do our Tuesdays with Nico with Give This Girl a Mic. And I appreciate you guys. I truly, truly do appreciate you for joining me every single week on these lives and just having a good old time with your girl. So, yeah, that was it. I did it. I'm giving myself, oh Lord, I'm so proud of myself. Y'all don't understand because half the battle is showing up. And there's a book I read called Happiness is a 4-letter word. And and basically that means love. So love of what you do, love a family, love a self. That's kind of like what the message has been for the week, right? It's Thanksgiving weekend. Today is Tuesday Giving. That's what I went to Catholic school. They used to call it Tuesday of Giving. So, and I know some of y'all even had Taco Tuesday when you're spending time with your family. It's just, to me, the Tuesday after Thanksgiving is always filled with so much love and contentment and family and just thinking and reflecting about everything that you're grateful for. And I can say that I am so, so, so grateful for you guys, encouraging me and subscribing to me and giving me kind of the push that I needed to reacclimate myself to YouTube. So if you guys are rocking with me, I'm rocking with you. Thank you for tuning in today. This is Give This Girl a Mic with Nico Nichole. Take care. Until next time. Bye, guys. 2 p.m. with Nico Nichole. Bye, guys.